What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, talking today about the ending of God of War, because it seems like it's confusing a lot of people. Obviously, this entire video is going to be full of spoilers. If you haven't beaten it yet, or you don't want the ending kind of shown off, you should probably click something else. Might I suggest my 11-minute review, where I just kind of rant and rave about how amazing that combat system is. Alright, are you still here? Let's dig in. The final scene and that epic mural has a lot of people scratching their heads. Let's back up a tiny bit and talk about Kratos and Atreus, because obviously these are the main characters, but they're still, even in themselves, a little bit mysterious. So his son is part giant and part god. The reason for this is because at the final shot, we realize that his mother, Freya, she wasn't actually a human. While she was a mortal, she wasn't actually somebody who's just a normal person. She seems like she was one of the last giants ever. Before the final giant war, she got into some sort of disagreement with the other giants and chose to leave, which we see in the mural when she's there, clearly arguing with them while holding her axe. Now, this is obviously what led her to meet Kratos in the first place, but what's interesting about this is clearly she knew about her entire fate before she even left the giant kingdom. She made this entire mural sketching out her meeting Kratos, the birth of her son, and also the inevitable death of both of them. This is really kind of deep when you think about it, because it means that she actually went into this entire situation knowing what would befall her, knowing that at the end of the day, her son could possibly be part of the end of the world. At the final shot, you see them dumping out her ashes over the mountain peak. This is a really powerful scene because obviously it's showing father and son finally bonding. He's opening up and realizes that, hey, you're allowed to be a little softy around your kids sometimes. But then we have to realize that we know that this is going to push Ragnarok 100 years forward. So within Norse mythology, they call the apocalypse Ragnarok. It means the end of all things. So the fact that we're killing off all of Odin's kids is accelerating this, causing Ragnarok to come, as they said, 100 winters sooner. Now, there is an odd caveat to this, because they also mention that time is a little bit weird. 100 years might be 1 month, or it might be 1,000 years. I think that this is just the writers giving themselves an excuse to have maybe an entire trilogy before the apocalypse shows up. So let's go back to that mural real quick. We see all the different events of Faye's life leading up to her son and meeting Kratos, but there's a final image that is only shown on screen for about 2 seconds, and this seems to be what's really confusing people the most. Let's zoom in a tiny bit. Judging by the art style and what they're wearing, it looks like this is Atreus holding a dead Kratos. Now, some people seem a little bit thrown off by the fact that there's that weird snake coming out of Atreus' mouth and going into Kratos'. I think that this is just trying to show a really fancy way of displaying the fact that their souls are bound. They are one person in their journey to save the world and keep Midgard safe. However, there's something interesting to this, which is that this could be hinting that Atreus ends up turning evil and actually kills his father. Now, the reason I say that is because we never actually see Odin. Throughout this entire game, we hear everybody talk about just how evil Odin is. He tortured Mimir for possibly hundreds of years. He beat up Freya, took all of her knowledge, and cast her out of the kingdom. Everything this guy does is very, very bad, which is setting him up possibly to be the next main villain. However, there is something interesting about this. Atreus' real name, or original name, was going to be Loki. If you look at actual Norse mythology, Loki is the person who ends up killing Thor and Odin. I think that's what this is setting up. I think that God of War, the next one, which would be God of War 5, I think it's going to be all about trying to track down Thor. If you're good enough to unlock the secret ending in this game, you'll notice that there's this special extra dream sequence. After the credits, we see the kid going to sleep, only for him to wake up from what looks like a strange dream. It says many years from now, and we see what is obviously Thor. That's his hammer, that's his famous cloak, and we see the electricity around him. Now, the reason this is so important is because it means that Loki could already very well be on the path of fate to kill Thor, kill Odin, and possibly kill Kratos. Now, I don't think he's going to end up killing Kratos. I think the mural is wrong, but here is why all of this has me so invested. Because I think that his powers, Loki's powers in this game, are actually going to be foresight. He is able to tell the future through visions, because that's obviously the power his mother had. She knew her entire life before she even left the giant's kingdom, which means that it's quite possible that she passed that gift on when she died. There's one last little thing I want to go into real quick, which is I do think that we have not seen the Last of Zeus. I think in some way he is going to show up again, possibly as the person who's manipulating all these new gods to go to war. The reason I say that is because in the cutscene where we actually saw what appears to be the spirit of Kratos battling the dead soul of Zeus in hell, we see that they're still struggling, and Zeus still actually holds a deep grudge, wanting to defeat Kratos once and for all, and Kratos has that same fire as always. Even having killed his father, he's still back for more. Also, when we talk to Freya after we've defeated her son Baldur, look how mad she is. She is literally about to be killed by her son, and she's willing to face that. She is willing to die if it means that this will actually bring some form of peace. However, Kratos steps in and stops it, killing her son instead. This angers her, and she claims that she's going to drag him to hell and submit him to all sorts of tortures. Here's why that's important, because if you listen really closely to what Atreus says, he says specifically, is that all gods are good for? Killing their parents or their sons being killed by their mothers and fathers. The cycle of family constantly killing each other. Now here's the thing. Listen to Freya. She is furious. Clearly she's going to probably be working together with Odin in the sequel to try and kill you. But what if she goes a different route? She has ancient magics and can bring things back from the dead. What if she personally goes to hell and brings Zeus back? I think that this is completely possible and could really open up the gates to several more very interesting sequels in the near future. But these have been my thoughts, just kind of off the cuff, because I've beaten this game twice now, and it's just phenomenal. They took the mythology of this world into a totally new direction, and I think they made it 10 times better because of it. But what do you think? Is this theory just completely out the window, or do you have a different opinion on the ending of God of War? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Oh, hey. I was just playing a little bit of Grand Theft Auto on my Darth Vader PSP. Are you curious what I'm going to come out with next? Well, if you click this button, you'll be subscribed to be the first to know. Also, if you click over here and here, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. I promise, it was super good. Or it was really bad, and I'm sure you can just make fun of me in the comments. Either way, it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching.